What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm back covering your favorite type of stories. It is, of course, stories about entitled people. Who doesn't love them? It's just funny to laugh at people that are just so idiotic, think the world revolves around them, and are just so dumb and entitled. Today I've got 4 stories for you with people that are obviously just so ridiculous. Let's get into it. Without further ado, sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new around here. Let's go. My ex is so entitled. She thinks I should be paying bills for her and the guy she cheated with. I found out my girlfriend of 11 years was cheating on me with an unemployed dude, of all people. I'm not rich, but I provided her a good lifestyle. I paid most of her bills. I provided a nice place, nails and hair done regularly, dates every weekend, couple vacations a year. She got used to that lifestyle and wanted to keep living it, despite cheating with a broke dude. She didn't admit to the cheating. I caught on to it. Now, once it was clear I was done with her, the entitlement really started to show. She said because I had family in the area and she didn't, I should move out, but continue paying the bills to give her and the new guy a chance to get on their feet. She also insisted on keeping my dogs. She told me I could only see my own dogs if I asked the new guy. But since they didn't have any money, I needed to continue paying for food and vet bills. Instead, I kicked her out and kept my dogs. At that point, she was angry and still felt entitled to my income. After I kicked her out of my place, she claimed she was forced to quit her job because I forced her to relocate. And then she tried to sue me for lost wages, which didn't work out in her favor. Now, you'd think she'd stop at this point, but she didn't. She contacted my work and threatened to sue them, stating, "Your employees' actions cost me everything," and tried to insist they settle outside of court with her for $100,000. She didn't make that much money. Instead, my work filed harassment charges against her. You'd think she'd stop at that point, but she didn't. She started messaging every family member of mine that she could find, told them I cost her everything out of spite just because she moved on with someone else, and that the least they could do is send her money to help her get a place and pay rent. When that didn't work, she went online and begged for people to send money to her Cash App to help her with a place to live, and she claimed it was a domestic violence situation. I don't understand how she doesn't understand that any financial support I gave her would obviously end if she cheated on me. We weren't married, we don't have kids, I've supported her for years, I owe her nothing. I really don't owe it to her to help her and her new relationship get on their feet and establish themselves, which seems to come as a shock to her. When I read a story like this, guys, I genuinely do think, is this entitlement, or is it just being completely unhinged and just downright dumb? I just don't understand how you can possibly think that cheating on your partner and then trying to take all their stuff and then saying, yeah, please continue to fund my life with the person I cheated on you with, is how can anyone think that and actually mean it? I mean, look, it's an ideal situation. Don't get me wrong. If you can get away with it, if you can cheat on your partner and then they continue to pay for your life, wow, you're doing well. But no, in all seriousness, what is going on? I mean, the comments here are saying to actually keep records and recordings of everything because of the domestic violence claim. That is true. People are saying it was a fun and amusing story until that moment, which is a great point. You actually need to sue her for slander or defamation, people are saying, because yeah, if that starts to snowball and she starts to do more stuff like that, and she, makes those abuse allegations real and does go to the law, then you could be in a little bit of trouble. And it's stress that you don't want, so try and shut that down as quickly as you can. He tried to take my airline seat and lost. I was traveling to Las Vegas to meet up with some friends, and I pre-booked my seats. With this airline, they charge extra for certain seats. I chose a window seat with extra legroom due to my disability, which cost me an additional $45. When boarding, there was a man in my seat with another in the aisle seat. The middle was open. I checked my seat number and then politely told the man that he was in my seat, and I asked for him to move. Now, I'm a petite female, and both men were about 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds. When both opened their mouths, it definitely appeared like they both were used to using their size to get their way. The man in the aisle immediately told me that the man at the window didn't have to move, and I could sit in the middle. After all, he said, I shouldn't make a scene about it. Now that really peed me off. I didn't raise my voice, and I was very polite. I said I wasn't going to make a scene, but I was asking nicely for the seat I paid for. That is when he stood up and attempted to physically intimidate me. But here's the thing, I worked in frontline healthcare. I'm used to men attempting to use their size and mouth to intimidate, and this behavior doesn't work with me. So I decided to use another tactic. I turned my head to the man in my seat, and I told him that I would make him a deal. He gives me $50 cash, and I'll give him my seat. I told him I paid an additional $45 for the seat, and with tax, it should be around $50. He gives the money and the seat would be his. This is when he turned to me in shock and said, "You want me to pay you $50 for your seat?" I answered, "So you're admitting that you knew this wasn't your seat. I'm going to call the airline staff and they can take you to your seat. After all, I booked this seat due to me having a disability," which is true, "and you're trying to steal it." I've got a butt in here at this point, guys, sorry. Even if you don't have a disability, if you book a set seat, that is your seat. It doesn't even matter if you've paid any more money for it. It's of course therefore up to you what you want to do with it, if you want to give it away or not, but you have the right to that seat. And I will say that throughout my entire time going on planes, I've never had something like this occur. Mostly people are pretty polite and, well, just normal and do sit in the seat that they've been assigned, but goodness me, some people are so entitled. Anyway, let's get back to the story. Everyone around us turned to look at him, and they didn't have kind looks on their faces. He turned 14 shades of red and moved to the middle seats. He pulled his hoodie over his head and sulked for the rest of the flight. His friend did the same. The moral of this story is simple. Do not use size and gender to bully others. It may just backfire on you and make your next flight a lot less comfortable. Yeah, as I said, I've never had this situation actually happen to me. And I know I've read a lot of stories about this sort of airline stuff at this point. I've nearly done this for 6 years. So there've been quite a few similar stories, but yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you have an airline story, because I don't, and you know, I'm not a frequent flyer, but I've been on a fair share of flights and I've never seen this happen. So I'd love to know. Maybe this is just a thing that happens on like internal flights in America or something, which I don't go on. But yeah, let me know in the comments, have you ever seen this happen and how have you reacted? Entitled thief gets angry because he can't steal. This happened yesterday. I was at the car wash. It's one of those that you drive through and then park to clean and vacuum, with a couple of vacuum hoses on each side of every parking spot. Yesterday, they were fairly slow when I arrived. There were only 4 cars in the lot, including my van, out of 22 spots in the lot. I actually counted before I left. Like the other cars in the lot, I chose a spot away from everyone else so I could have both sides empty. Now, I'm male, but I carry a bag instead of using pockets. Think small messenger bag. I had my bag sitting in the passenger seat of my van when I opened both of the front doors and both of the sliding doors. This particular car wash supplies loaner towels for drying and cleaning, with buckets for used and dirty towels. Now, I just returned with a couple of towels when a guy pulls up immediately next to my van. That was annoying, since there were a lot of choices of other places to park, but whatever. Then I realised that my bag was easily visible from the property entrance and from the wash tunnel exit. So I went to the passenger side of my van to dry, clean and vacuum that side. I then closed the sliding door and locked it, followed by locking and closing my passenger front door. About 30 seconds after I went back to the driver's side to work on that side, I heard someone pulling on my door handles. I immediately looked up and, unsurprisingly, it was the jerk that parked next to me. So I yelled over to him, "Yeah, I already locked the doors." He gets so angry that I can see him turning red and he yells back at me, "F you, jerk." Then he punched my van, which hurt his hand more than my door, jumps back into his car and tears out of the parking lot as fast as his little beater can go. I laughed and flipped him off as he drove away. When I went to look at the other side, I had no idea where he hit my van. There was no mark or dent of any kind. So I finished cleaning and I went to the store. I'm glad I locked my doors. You know what's actually really impressive about this is the fact that you clocked on to there potentially being a little bit of danger, like very, very early. I would have thought maybe in that situation, yeah, you would question like why is someone coming up, pulling up right next to you, but you might just think they're being annoying or just unaware, but no, you clocked it very, very early. What's crazy is rather than running away and fleeing as you'd expect a thief to do when caught, this guy actually just started swearing at you and saying, "F you, jerk, why aren't you letting me steal your bag?" And then punching your van. It's like he didn't even care about running away or getting away. He was like, "Damn it, I really wanted that bag. I really like the look of it." Very, very strange once again, but you handled that very, very well, OP. My neighbor doesn't buy her kids any snacks or drinks. We bought our house we were in 8 years ago. 2 months ago, my husband passed away from cancer. Don't worry, we are financially secure. But when we moved in, we started meeting the neighbors after we were settled in. There was one little girl who was about 4. As she got to know us, she started spending a lot of time with us. We took her on vacations, dinners, shopping and parks, etc. This little girl, Fran, even spent the night with us. I spoiled her and got her many treats and clothing and gifts. We then met her older sister, who was 10ish, who started asking for the same things. So I kept giving them sodas, snacks and food, etc. She soon started bringing her other friends over. I finally decided to put a stop to her and her friend, who was 11, and I told them that I'm cutting this gravy train off because I have to go shopping more often than I want. It was getting old, and I even complained to the parents of them about the older kids, hoping they'd stop their kids, but of course they didn't. So, 3 years ago, the older sister, Rachel, asked me what I am buying her for Christmas this year. I told her that's not happening anymore. The same night, she tried to set our house on fire. I was going to call the cops, but the mother said it would be too extreme and she'll deal with her and she won't be allowed to go anywhere for 2 months and she'll take away her phone, etc. I saw her going somewhere the same day and the days following. 5 days after I talked to her mum about it, Rachel sent me a text asking for $15. No apologies, nothing, just straight up. Have you got $15? I forwarded that text to her mum and nope, nothing. So I stopped acknowledging her when I saw her anywhere. I just ignored her. She started tossing things though in our swimming pool. My husband told them that he was done with their child and he put more security cameras around our house. She has major anger issues. She tried to get her guy friends to take out the cameras, and of course we saw that and called the cops and showed them the proof. They talked to the boys, who said that Rachel had offered to let them feel her up if they damaged our cameras. Oh my goodness. My husband said if they ever come close to our home or vehicles, they'll be carried away in a body bag, which scared them. Sorry, why would you ever admit that someone had offered to let you feel them up? I mean, offering to let someone feel you up anyway is extremely weird, but then admitting that as well? Okay, this is all very, very strange. The family rented their house out and moved far away. But 6 months ago, they moved back into their house. I still ignore the free moocher. She kept sending Fran over to ask for so many things, which mostly include food, but wasn't limited to it, so she knows that I won't budge. Plus now, she is 17 and Fran is 12. The mother kicked the older monster out because she couldn't handle her. She steals from everyone and anyone. Stores, parents, friends, and neighbours. I blame the mother for not disciplining her when she should have. Now Fran has started following in the footsteps of her older sister as far as wanting snacks and drinks. She asked for bottled water many times. One day I told her that she should drink tap water, and she said she hates the tap water, and she started trying to bring a friend around. I saw the friend, Lauren, one day outside looking very hot. She lives several streets away, so I gave her a bottle of Sunny D. She left, and within 5 minutes, Fran was at my door, ringing the doorbell frantically and trying to open the door. I was watching from the cameras while I was handling some insurance claims for my husband's passing. I was emotional and I ignored her. They left, but as I'm watching, she took her much younger friend's juice and she poured it all out. I guess she was thinking that if I can't get any, then she shouldn't either. Now, Fran is a very nice and thoughtful girl, but since she knows that I like her, she can just ask for anything she wants. Again, it's gotten old. 2 days later, they both came to my door in the guise of checking on me, but when I didn't offer them anything to drink, Fran started talking rather loudly, and she said, "I want Dr. Pepper," while her friend just as loudly said, "Me too." I told Fran that both your parents work, asked them to buy some for you. She looked shocked and said, "But I thought you loved me." I said that doesn't mean I'm going to give you things anytime you want. The younger friend had seen my DoorDash delivery once and we'd gotten KFC, and she told Fran that we had KFC and they came to ask us for some. I told her we got 2 bowls and my daughter and I shared and my son had one, and there was no chicken left. Now the mother is very aware of these demands that her kids make from the other neighbours. She's been separated from her husband for many years. She can buy high-end designer handbags, but other than giving her kids food, she won't buy them anything extra. I am grieving, and these people are now asking me for firewood to keep their house warm. It's not my job to do that. Their home uses oil for heat, and it's probably about the same price to fill it up as a Gucci handbag costs. I have central heating, but I also love the fireplace in the cold days. She doesn't prioritize. I don't know what to do, because after telling them so many times that we aren't rich enough to feed our neighbours, I don't know. I don't want to sell my house, but they're freeloaders. The mum asked me to sell her our older van on a payment plan, but I refused to sell it. I'm emotionally attached to it because that was my husband's commuter van. It's only 2 months since he's been gone. I am not ready to part with any of his things for now. Any advice? Thank you in advance. Well, my advice to the UOP would be stop answering the door, block all their numbers. Maybe, if anything, you could actually just call CPS for a wellness check, because I don't know what's going on in that house, but clearly something is not, in the wise words of Gary Neville, something's not right. Maybe that'd be enough actually at that point if you did that to actually get the mum to tell the kids to back off, because I agree with you, right? You don't just turn from a nice normal girl into this monster without some poor parenting, and it's very, very likely that the mum is just not doing enough here, let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, as far as what you can do with the kids themselves when they come round, I don't know. I would just say, like, on the one hand, it's obvious you want to be really nice to them still, and they should, in theory, be very grateful for what you've done for them in the past, but clearly they're not. I think at this point, you just have to say to them, look, I'm sorry, but you are no longer welcome on my property, and then give them nothing, which is tough because you spent years giving them stuff which their mum hasn't given them. But it's got to the point where you have to put your foot down, in my opinion. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would you do? Any advice? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But that is where we're going to leave this one. Hope you enjoyed it as always. Rank the stories 1 to 4 down below. Which was the most entertaining? Which included the most entitled person? Very interested to hear what you guys have to say as always. And I'll catch you on the next one.